Here's the partner test from yesterday, 7374. Tomorrow's your test. Question number 1. List all the transformations from the parent function to this. So what you're going to want to do is pull this 3 out. So you have g of t is equal to 1/4 cosine. If you pull the 3 out of here, you're dividing by 3. So this is going to be t plus pi over 18, and then plus 5. So take this, pi over 6, and divide it by 3, or multiply by 1/3. So that's where you get pi over 18. So what are the transformations? The 1/4 is a vertical compression by 1/4. This, you flip it, you get 1/3. That would be a what? Horizontal compression by 1/3. Flip that, 1/3. This is going to be pi over 18 units to the left. It's the opposite, and then up 5. I gave 2 points, one for vertical compression by 1/4, one for that, 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 one for that. So 8 points for that one. Now, just to review this stuff, the number in front, if it's greater than 1, it's a vertical stretch. If it's less than 1, it's a vertical compression. This thing you flip it, 1/3. That's going to be a horizontal compression if it's less than 1, horizontal stretch if it's greater than 1. This is going to be the opposite, so it's pi over 18 to the opposite, so plus it's going to be left, and then up 5. Questions? Okay, the next one. Write an equation for the sine function that's stretched vertically by a factor of 3. Sine function has a period of pi over 4. So what you have to do is find the b value. 2 pi over b, the period is pi over 4. So you're going to cross multiply, you get 8 pi b, or I'm sorry, 8 pi is equal to pi b. All I did was cross multiply. The pi's cancel, b is 8. So you need to have an 8 right here, parenthesis, and it's a phase shift of pi over 3 to the left, so it's x plus pi over 3. And it was also a reflection over the x-axis, so you have to have a negative here. 5 points for that. Make sure tomorrow you make a complete equation, y equals. You could have had f of t. And then this would be 8, and then t plus pi over 3. Questions, anybody? Now, if you were to distribute this 8, your answer would be 8x plus 8 pi over 3. That's another good answer. Questions? So 5 points for that. The next one. The big mistake was some of you guys do not know how to pull that b value out. So let's do that. 3 cosine, take the 1/2 out, that's your b value. And then t, now if you divide this by 1/2, you're going to get 2 pi. And then plus 2. And I always double check, a 1/2 times t is a 1/2 t, and a 1/2 times 2 is pi. So this is going to be a vertical stretch by 3, or amplitude of 3. The period, this is your b value right here. You're going to take 2 pi and divide it by b, which means this is really 4 pi. That's your period. The increments, you take this and cut it into 4 parts. So take this 4 pi divided by 4, so your increments are pi. This is a phase shift of 2 pi to the left. This is your start position. And the vertical shift is 2 up. So what you needed to do here, whoops, you need to label both x and y axis completely. So you're starting at 2 pi to the left, which is negative 2 pi. And you're counting by pi. So this is going to be negative pi, this will be 0, pi, and 2 pi. 2 up, so that's your new x-axis, 2. And it's the cosine graph. The cosine graph starts above, on, below, on, above. And it's curvy, not pointy. That is 1 full period. I gave 10 points for this. I gave a point for each of these answers. I gave 2. This is very big. You have to have this labeled correctly. You had to start at negative 2 pi. That's your phase shift. And 1 full period. Looks like that. And shifted 2 units up. So I did like 5 for this and 5 for that. Yes.
So if it was 2 periods, you would just do another one of those connected?
Yeah, if I asked you for 2 full periods, and then you would do 5 more, you know, you would do 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 6 pi, keep going. That's 1 full period. Now check this out. The length from here to here is 4 pi. Make sure you have 4 pi there. From here to here measures 4 pi. Negative 2 pi to 2 pi is 4 pi. Next one. We're going to graph just 1 full period of the cosecant graph. So what do you first need to do? You need to pull the 2 out. So you get t minus pi over 2. So this is an amplitude of 1, not negative 1, 1. The period is going to be 2 pi over b, b is 2, which is pi. The increments, cut this into 4 parts. Phase shift is pi over 2 to the right. And your vertical shift, there is none. Now, you're starting at pi over 2 to the right, but you're going to be counting by pi over 4. So I would change this to 2 pi over 4. That's your start position, 2 pi over 4. Because when you count by pi over 4, it's so much easier. So this would be 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4, and that's going to give you 1 full period. We're not shifting up or down. There's no vertical shift. And this is the upside down what curve? Sine curve. So how are you going to graph this? You're going to start here, and you're going to go down. It's an amplitude of 1. So this is the sine curve you should have. Then your asymptote should be broken. And your graph would look like this. Bless you. Just like that. Now I want to see contrast. And I'm going to label that just as long as you put a 1 there, so I know that these are going by 1s. See, these are not going by pi over 2. They're going by 2 pi over 4. Actually, this one, these are going by pi over 2. But they're not necessarily all going to be. That's why it's very important. This is an important part. You have to label. And do me a favor, guys. Do not reduce these. Don't write pi over 2. Don't write pi. Don't write 3 pi over 2. Leave it like this. It's easier for me to check. This is one time you don't have to reduce your fraction. Leave it like this. So does everyone understand how I'm grading these? I'm giving you a point for each of these, and then 5 points for this. I need the labeling of the x-axis. I need the labeling, at least 1 number for y, so I know you're going by 1. And then I need to see, the broken parts should be asymptotes in the sine or cosine curve. And then the solid part should be your actual cosecant. Does anyone have any questions? 10 points. Okay, a lot of you guys were struggling. I gave some hints on the tangent curve. And now this is asking for 2 full periods. So, the steepness is 2. Your period is now going to be pi over b. b is 4. You're going to cut your increments into 2. So if you took this pi over 4, and you cut it into 2, you get pi over 8. Your vertical shift is 1 down. Now, this is where you guys had a hard time with. If it's a tangent problem, you take this whole chunk right here, the whole thing. You don't have to pull the 4 out. You take this whole thing and you set it equal to, where is the first asymptote for tangent? Where is it? It's at pi over 2. So if it's a tangent problem, you set this piece equal to pi over 2 and solve for t. T is going to be your first asymptote. T is where? That's your start position. So let's solve this. Subtract pi over 6. Pi over 2 minus pi over 6. Get a common denominator, so multiply this by 3, this by 3. So 4t is equal to 2 pi over 6. Okay? Questions on that? And then multiply by 1/4. So t is equal to pi over 12. This is your start position. And it's a positive pi over 12, not a negative. It's a positive pi over 12. Now the problem is the increments are different denominator than that. So if you start adding by pi over 8, you're going to have trouble. So I would convert these two into the same denominator, which happens to be 24. So this is equivalent to 2 pi over 24. This is equivalent to 3 pi over 24. So you're starting here at 2 pi over 24, but you're adding 3 pi over 24. So this is going to be 5 pi over 24. Add 3, you get 8 pi over 24. Add 3, you get 11 pi over 24. Add 3, you get 14 pi over 24. You do your asymptotes. Remember, we're doing 2 full periods. Your asymptotes like that. Now it's a shift 1 unit down, so here's your other. That's your new x-axis, and you can put -1 there. And it's the tangent curve with a steepness of 2, so you got to know the shape of it. So you're going to go 2 this way, 2 that way. That's 1 period. Here's the next one. 10 points. No more, no less. All of it's labeled, graphed. So I gave you 5 for these and 5 for the graph. Now what's different about 6? 6 is a cotangent. So you're going to set this chunk right here equal to 0 to find your first asymptote. Why 0? Because for the cotangent graph, the first asymptote was at, think of the parent function. The parent function, when we did these back 2 weeks ago, when you guys take a look at this, when we did the tangent graph, the tangent one had, your first asymptote was at pi over 2. That was your first asymptote. This was the tangent graph. It looked like this. This was the parent function of tangent. So your first asymptote was pi over 2. Where cotangent, where was your first asymptote? It was at 0 and at pi, and it looked like this. So if you can remember that, cotangent, your first asymptote was at 0. Pi. So your job is to solve this for t, setting it equal to 0 because it's a cotangent graph.
Okay, notifications, reminder about grading for AP, one for this hour and flip one for next hour.
Okay, one for
Thank
this
you.
hour.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so solve for t, subtract pi over 3 and divide by 4, or multiply by 1/4. So t is equal to negative pi over 12. That's your first asymptote at negative pi over 12. Now let's look at the rest of the stuff. The steepness is 1. Your period is going to be pi over b. b is 4. Cut this into 2 parts, so pi over 8 again. And the shift is 2 up. So now again, we have a problem. We're starting here, but we're counting by pi over 8. That's going to give you a little bit of a problem. So you're going to want to get these in the same denominator. Make that negative 2 pi over 24 and make this 3 pi over 24. So you're starting at negative 2 pi over 24 and you're counting by 3 pi over 24. So if you add 3 pi to this, you get pi over 24. Add 3 pi, add 3 pi, add 3 pi. Do not reduce. Okay? Do not reduce. Do not reduce these, leave them. So it's the cotangent graph shifted 2 units up. So we have to do this. Make your new x-axis 2 up. And we're starting here. This is your first asymptote. And we're doing 2 full periods. That's all. And now you gotta remember, this is building on section 7.1. What does the cotangent graph look like? With a steepness of 1, it's backwards like that. This is really big. I have to be able to read these numbers. Now, if you want for this one, if you want to do just the asymptotes, I can, let that slide. But I want to see some numbers here. So I can grade it quickly and know that that's, as long as you give me one number here, that's 2. I'm assuming that these are going by 1. Okay, this last one was kind of a disaster for you guys. Not gonna lie. And I gave you a more challenging one because I figured you're working in groups, you should be able to, great minds come together and get this answer. Okay, so, first of all, give me one, graph a full period. So this is what I did. I drew, this is an asymptote and here's an asymptote. So in blue, do you agree, in blue, that's 1 full period? Yes or no? That's 1 full period. You gotta be able to locate that. Now I need to know how long it's taking us to go from this A to this asymptote. That's 1 full period. How long is that? Because that's going to give us our B value. Okay? So now, from here to here, I'm telling you it measures, I gave you a piece of the puzzle. From here to here measures pi over 4. So what are each of these little hash marks? If from here to here is pi over 4, what's a third of that? Pi over 4 multiplied by a third is pi over 12. So each of these little pieces is pi over 12. Do you understand that? So each of these, so now let's count together. Each of these little hash marks is pi over 12. So 1 12, 2 12, 3 12, 4 12, 5 12, 6 12, 7 12, 8 12. So 8 pi over 12 is equal to 2 pi over b. I've got to solve for b. I'm going to cross multiply. 8 pi b is equal to 24 pi. The pi's cancel. And divide by 8, what's b? 3. That's big. That's your horizontal stretch or compression. That's the B value. Now, we did the hard part was to find out that each of these are worth pi over 12. So if we write the equation starting from A is the sine graph. So it's gonna be y equals, the amplitude is what? 2, a lot of you guys got that. And it's not upside down, it's starting here and it's going up, so it's a positive 2. Instead of writing the sine graph, what's the reciprocal? Cosecant. And the B value we just found is 3. This is a phase shift of, each of these are a 12, so 1 12, 2 12s, 3 12s. It's 3 12s to the left, so it's plus 3 pi over 12. That's that answer. Now, if you reduce that, that's cool, that's fine. You can write pi over 4. So this answer is also good. 2 cosecant 3x plus pi over 4. Those are the same answer for A. Those are both good A answers. Now for B, here's B right there. I want you to write the equation starting from here. This is the cosine graph. So it'd be y equals, amplitude is 2. Secant 3 stays the same. You don't have to find B again, it's 3. And this is a shift pi over 12 to the left, so it's just x plus pi over 12. And that's the only answer you should have for that one. What if I would have put my dot here? Right there. I'll call this C. C would be a negative 2. Y equals negative 2. Let me write this nicer. So if I would have started here, it would have been y equals negative 2 cosecant, and it'd be 3 parenthesis, and it would be x minus pi over 12. If I would have put my dot here, right here, what's this equation? This would be, I'll call that D. Y equals negative 2 secant 3, and then it'd be x. You could have either minus pi over 4, or you could have 3 pi over 4, or 3 pi over 12, minus 3 pi over 12. Are you getting this a little bit better? Yeah? Okay, that's your test. Tomorrow's the individual portion, and it's gonna look the same, but just different numbers.